did we have a beautiful time in the theater this time around? Well, I would say so when you're listening to Neil Diamond's music in A Beautiful Noise.
Yes, just as Eva was saying, A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical, follows Neil Diamond and tells the story of his life as told through old Neil Diamond, who's played by Mark Jacoby, while in a therapy session as he sets out to explore his themes of loneliness, clouds that carry over him, and his quest for becoming king. We're initially introduced to Neil in this therapy session with his therapist played by Linda Powell, and then he begins to open up only when presented a book of his song lyrics. Then he presents and shares his story, accompanied by the ensemble, who is referred to as the Noise. This was a great glimpse into the mind of one of the greatest songwriters of the 20th century. Old Neil remained on stage throughout the entirety of the show as he revisits his life story as told through his song lyrics. It's a classic jukebox and biographical musical, familiar to those who may have seen Beautiful or Jersey Boys. It has a book by Anthony McCarten, who has a knack for biographical storytelling, as seen in his recent successes, The Collaboration on Broadway. I really enjoyed the show. I was disappointed that America, a song that I know to be one of the most famous of Neil Diamond's, wasn't really played as a full song and was not given its own number in that entirety. And I was also surprised that Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon was not on the show. But standout performances did include, of course, Sweet Caroline, Forever in Blue Jeans, and Crackling Rosie. Of course, everyone was on their feet by curtain call. The theater was filled with joyous energy, and everyone just left singing the music on their way out. Will Swenson is electrifying as he portrays young Neil, and I even think worthy of earning him a Tony Award. And to this day, music is still stuck in my head, and really, this show elevated my appreciation for him. So, A Beautiful Noise, it really is a beautiful cacophony of sounds. I give it a happy face plus.
I discovered something while watching this Neil Diamond and jukebox musicals in general. And basically, what makes a jukebox musical really truly succeed is whether you like the music or not. It's like, are you a fan of them? Because I mean, I like the Temptations, but I mean, I found that musical
Right.
terrible.
Right.
But
I was kind of bored by it. It felt like they didn't change sets or anything there, whereas this was totally
yeah,
the opposite.
and
Yeah.
I do like the music there, but Neil Diamond music, I absolutely love. I was telling you, it is a soundtrack to my teenage years, and I absolutely, I mean, and I remember towards the end, they finally, I'm like, that's my favorite song. I am my sad, I am my cried. I mean, that song just makes you want to like jump around the house and scream at the top of your lungs and get rid of all the demons in your soul, which is probably what, now that I know he had demons in his soul, his music makes sense. And Robin Herder, who played his second wife, they made a big production number out of I'm a Rebel in Blue Jeans.
Forever in Blue Jeans. Yeah, that was a really standout performance as well.
Yeah.
And it totally changed the song I was familiar with
Yeah,
to fit
yeah.
in a new context. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing is I was thinking the choreography, I was thinking to myself, the choreography is like bad British choreography. And I'm like, and then during intermission, I looked at who was the choreography. I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, it's Steve Hoggett, who is British and he's known for his movement more than his choreography. So it's like, okay, that explains that. But again, I mean, bad British choreography I find amusing. So to me, it was entertaining. So I did not mind it so much. And Jessie Fisher, who played his teenage, wife and everything, she was excellent too. I mean, they all seemed of the era, and they brought it to life so beautifully. And his songs, I mean, you don't send me flowers anymore. I mean, his music is just gets to you. So I just love this. This gets a major happy face for me too, because I just thought it was beautifully done.
Viewer be warned, this review is not safe for young audiences or workplace discussions. Every second Thursday of the month at the Slipper Room, it becomes the home for wayward girls and fallen women, where the expression is, we've fallen, we can't get up, and we like it that way. Hotsy Totsy Burlesque presents a themed burlesque show with fan favorites like Star Trek, Doctor Who, and Stranger Things. A variety show is put on with costumed characters, strip teases, and choreographed dance numbers. Hotsy Totsy is perfectly entertaining for both fans of each theme and those unfamiliar with them. The performers enthusiastically entertain and tease the audience over the course of an hour-and-a-half show. I recently attended Hotsy Totsy's burlesque tribute to Weird Al Yankovich, a nod to the prolific comedian and musician known for his parody songs and music videos. And the show was laugh out loud funny and creative. It began with go-go dancer Le Grand Chaton, complete with curly hair and glasses, on stage to set the atmosphere for the evening, dancing to Weird Al hits like Handy and Like a Surgeon. The evening began with patrons stuffing singles into Chaton's thong. The show was hosted by couple Handsome Brad and Sherry Pitts, kicking us off with Venatrix in fishnets and a flannel, and while performing alongside Smells Like Nirvana. And there were, of course, pasties and music video references throughout the entire night, concluding with Sherry Pitts dropping aluminum foil and revealing her breasts. The music selection was fitting, featuring Weird Al covers like Party in the CIA, Word Crimes, and Foil. I enjoyed the costume selection, which included underwear with the text proofread printed on the cheeks and word crimes on the bra. Also, an Amish beard and pubic bush for Bitsy Brulee's performance of Amish Paradise. I mean, this event is laugh out loud funny. You will only get this sort of experience in New York. So go if you're a lover of any of these themes or just want to try something new. The next one that they're doing is coming up on February 9th. It is a tribute to the ladies of Disney. So if you're into Disney princesses and want to see them get, kind of freaky, you'll have your chance to do so then. But yeah, Happy Face Plus, definitely run to check this out. Second Thursday of every month at the Slipper Room. Be sure to catch the next one.
Here we are with Diana Arnold, who just got her book published of poetry called If/When. So what was the inspiration for this? Tell us about your poems. And I know you're going to read us one of your poems later on. So give us a dish. And also you got a show coming up right before Valentine's Day.
I do. Eva, I'm so happy to be here. You have actually been following my work for, I would say, over 10 years. I did these like one-woman shows throughout that you would hear about. And I think after 2 decades of performing original solo work in New York, during the pandemic, without that performance, I began to put the poems on the page. And that's really where this book, If/When, was born. It's out now. You can find it on Amazon. It's been published by Kelsey Books, which is a really small, fantastic poetry-specific publisher out of Utah. And they really were born out of, how am I going to get the life that I want? Right? And I really don't know how. And really nobody does, right? But it's the planting the seed of maybe I could, maybe I deserve, maybe I'm worth it. Maybe I can ask for help when I need it. Maybe I can really begin to manifest the life that I want. And this poem collection is these really small moments, right, in New York of clarity. And I'm just so happy that the pandemic forced me to get them down, because they really are a time capsule of a moment in time. And now I'm going around New York and performing them. We're doing hour-long readings all over Manhattan and Brooklyn. We're doing about one a month. You came to the last one.
At the Bowery Poetry Club, which is a gorgeous space. It's so elegant.
It really is. It's I mentioned at the show, but where I performed one of my first poems in New York in 2002, off a napkin at the Bowery Poetry Club. So to be there in 2022 and launching my book there was such a full circle moment.
So you were there when it was sort of divey.
Yeah, there was a bar, there was metal chairs. It was quite gritty, and it was crowded. Everyone was going up to perform. And there's this part of me that misses that. I really want to begin to get people to come to the shows, to want to listen to poetry. You know, I put on a show, I have musicians, I have guests. It really is a curated arc. I know it's hard for some people to wrap their heads around a night out to see poetry, but I hope if you watch this, you come see me, because it's really fun.
Yeah, think of the 50s when there were beatniks around.
We're orators, right? We like to just jive.
And the thing about your poems, that there's a funny quirkiness to them. That I don't know. I remember when you were doing your poetry, I was like chuckling through most of them. They're not angst-ridden poems. I mean, some of the subject matter may be angsty, but you have a funny, lighthearted way of talking about sad, moments.
That means a lot. My sense of humor, I'm sure, like many people in this city, is what gets us through, right? It does, and yeah, the poems are cheeky, right? God, let me see if I can remember. It's been so long I've been a waiter that now I get along better with strangers, or little morsels. But yeah, the poems live funnily on the page, and I remember hearing your laugh in the audience, and it is our sense of humor that get us through.
Oh, it definitely keeps us sane.
Yeah. Do you remember any particular poems from that night that stuck with you?
Oh, unfortunately, I have short-term memory loss. It has nothing to do with that. It's like I don't remember the beginning of this conversation. That's how bad it is. So it's like,
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Shall I read a poem for you?
Give an example.
We've got a show coming up at Rockwood Music Hall to celebrate Valentine's Day on Monday, February 13th. And I'm going to perform this poem that I'm about to read. It's called Compelled. And that night, if you come, I'll be playing with a live guitarist that night who underscores some of the poems and really gives them a new life. So if you're around, it's $10. We go on at 8:30 at Rockwood on Monday the 13th. And this is a poem called Compelled. I am in the light, or I am the light. I can never quite get it right. All I know is that I shine. All I can tell you is it is my time. And I don't know why it's taken this long, but I fit inside myself now. And I'm strong. And I have room to let you in some. You, my audience, you, anyone I do, I've got room. Come over. I know how good it feels to be listened to. But do whatever work you have to do on yourself, so that when you come to me, you come compelled.
So besides poetry, are you performing anything else right now?
That's a great question. And you know what? The answer is no. In some ways, performing these poems, right, it's a little bit like a script. And I find myself wanting to only wear the poet hat. I'm used to wearing director, producer, solo artist, but and it's been kind of nice to just say, here's my script, I know it, and to really I had so much fun at that performance you saw. That was the first time I had read those poems.
And what was the name of that musician you had there? And is he the same one that's going to be there on the 13th?
Yeah, he's a local Brooklyn musician. His name is Ryan Manchester. He's at Ryan Manchester on Instagram. And I'm Diana _ Arnold. And he's amazing. And yes, that was the first time we'd ever done that. So the poems are allow for so much freedom in the performance. And that's been like really liberating for me to not come to the work as an actor, but come to the work as a poet, which I've never been able to do before.
Well, congratulations on your new persona.
I know, right?
And no matter what you do, it's always going to be entertaining. So people, get your dates, you can celebrate Valentine's 2 days, so
It's perfect. I think it'll be the first Valentine's Day in my life that I ever celebrate. So now's the time. Yeah, please come out. Eva, thanks for having me. It's so lovely to have you at the show and just to have you continuing to do what you do for our community,
oh, it's a pleasure, especially when I get to be so entertained.
It's true. You make a good point. Yeah. Well, I hope to see some of your viewers at the show at the Rockwood Music on the 13th. And if not, we'll be at the KGB bar performing on March 23rd as well.
And they can always buy the book. And
oh my gosh, that's true. Links will
and
be up.
and read it to each other. You can go get together on Valentine's Day over your champagne and roses and read poetry.
It has beautiful illustrations inside, little brush strokes throughout. I'm really proud of the designer. Becca Line designed this book. Thank you guys so much for having me.
The Pan-Asian Repertory Theater is doing Livian Yez Memorial, which is about a 21-year-old Yale student, Maya Lin, who wins the national competition to build a Vietnam memorial on the Washington, D.C. Mall. Wolf von Eckert, the influential art and architecture critic for the Washington Post, and Colonel James Becker, a career soldier who was a POW during the Vietnam War and heads the Vietnam War Memorial Project, come in person to tell Maya that she won. It soon becomes clear that Colonel James Becker has a problem with Maya's design and prefers a statue of 3 soldiers rather than a black slab with everyone's name buried partially under the ground. He feels like Maya's design for Vietnam vets isn't heroic enough. Maya looks for guidance from Hideo Sasaki, a landscape architect who is on the board of the Vietnam project, and after some initial ambivalence, she gets moral support from her mother. Who do you listen to, angry vets or the artist's vision? This was a very compelling, somewhat fictionalized account of what went into creating the controversial Vietnam War Memorial and the story behind it. We don't think about the cost of developing and building it. We just go there today and admire it and are moved by it. But at what cost? And I just don't mean financially. The actors did a phenomenal job of bringing real people to life. I felt like I really knew them. James Patrick Nelson as Colonel James Becker starts out sympathetic to Maya's vision till we see the man behind the curtain and his issues, which are understandable but not very empathetic. Robert Maxson as Wolf von Eckert is a diplomat who tries to find a compromise to make everyone happy, but is that possible? Glenn Kuboto as Hideo Sasaki is saddled with cherry trees, which he takes care of but doesn't like, and what to do about that problem. Now, Rachel Liu as Julia, Maya's mother, had the tricky part of supporting her daughter, but trying to get her to compromise on her vision. I just want to say I loved Karen Boyer's costumes for the mom. They were so elegant. Angel Lin as Maya Lin was terrific. She had that idealistic, true to her art focused vision against being bombarded with hatred and bigotry. She was remarkably strong for such a young person, but she wasn't dogmatic. She worked really hard to have the other characters understand her thinking. Memorial was a testament to the passion for believing in something that nobody else can see. It was brilliant. Happy face plus. Well, here we are with Valerie David, who's got a new show now. She hasn't retired the Pink Hulk yet, but tell us about your new show.
Thank you so much for having me on. And yes, my first award-winning solo show is The Pink Hulk, One Woman's Journey to Find the Superhero Within, about being a 3-time cancer survivor. And now there's a new award-winning solo show called Baggage from BaghDAD, Becoming My Father's Daughter, which is a tribute to my father and his family. And I'm very honored that it, in its very first production, full production, it won the top theater and spoken word award in Stockholm's Fringe Festival. And it also was nominated for the Grand Prix Award. But we do these shows not because of the awards, it's because of the message behind them. And this story is such an important one because it mirrors the struggle of today's Ukrainian refugees and reflects the rising racial and religious discrimination worldwide. It's about my family's true inspiring journey, a Middle Eastern Jewish family being forced to flee from religious persecution from the 1941 Farhud pogrom in Baghdad. And it's really, really important story. Because it reflects the discrimination and prejudice that's happening worldwide. And this is a story about having history not repeat itself. And unfortunately, it is in these very turbulent times. And there are many themes that are pertinent topics reflecting these turbulent times in our climate. And those themes include prejudice and bullying, immigration, social injustice, generational trauma, rebuilding and love and loss of family. And it's a beautiful story of hope and resilience. And my father, unfortunately, had passed away earlier this year, and he knew about the show, and I read him excerpts. And I know that he's not with us right now, but I know that he's looking up, or he's looking down, and I'm looking up at him. And I know he's proud, and there's nothing more important than me than family and honoring my father and his family and the legacy and my whole family. So it's a beautiful story, and I'm going to be doing it in Los Angeles, and other dates are being booked, and I'm going to be doing excerpts at APAP, and I'm really really excited for this new show, and it's just as important as the Pink Hulk with its message of resilience and hope.
Where's APAP? Isn't that in Queens?
That's going to be at the Hilton. It's that conference where I'm going to do excerpts, and I'll send you that information. That's going to be in New York.
Okay.
It's the Association of it's Association of Professional Artists, and it's a group that meets, a conference that meets every year in New York, where I present to bookers in the audience, and can invite anyone. So I'm very excited for doing those excerpts. And the full show will be in Los Angeles, and more dates. And I'm going to bring the full show to New York, as I did when I was in Sweden. And I just came back from Vermont doing the show with the Grange Hall Cultural Center. I was honored to be an artist in residence there with Monica Callan. And I did the show there, and had a wonderful audience, and had a talk back with very prominent filmmakers that are champions in preserving Iraqi Jewish culture, Carol Basri and Adriana Davis. And they've been on my talk backs in Sweden too. We beam them in from wherever I'm doing the show, and they've been huge supporters. And what we want to do is just make a difference in telling stories and encouraging others to tell their own stories. We all have a story to tell. We all came from somewhere. We all were from somewhere else. And to share those commonality of the stories and the struggles and the triumphs that we've all gone through. So yeah, so it was really great. Beautiful too. It was beautiful. And it snowed a little bit the day of the show, and it looked even more beautiful outside doing the show at this gorgeous cultural center. So it was a really special time, and I was really grateful and I had just gotten back from doing that show in Vermont, and I was very honored. I was an artist in residence there in 2019, and then was awarded again for doing this show. So I'm really excited to bring it to the masses, and I appreciate Eva came to an early reading this year, and I thank you for your support and also your Pink Hulk support. And I'm really grateful to High Drama and all of you, and I thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's always a pleasure. It's always exciting to see what you'll come up with next.
Thank you.
You're one of the few One People shows that I really enjoy, because
Thank you so
you're
much.
a really good storyteller, and you have a good story to tell.
Thank you. And it's an important one that resonates with everyone. And if you need to get in touch with me, at Pink Hulk Play on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and I'm gonna get a dedicated site to Baggage from BaghDAD. You know, right now it shares the site with pinkhulkplay.com, but I'm in the process of getting all that, because it's a brand new show. So I'm going to get all those materials together for it separately as well. But right now, I have them together, and I want to perform them together. I when I do the show, I want to do both shows together. Have me a few nights there and a few nights doing that show, and I really look forward to that.
Ah, you are ambitious. Well,
Thank you.
returning to the Wild Project is Jill Sobel's Fuck 7th Grade, which is a coming of age, coming out, and coming into your own story. Things were going great for Jill until 7th grade. Then popular Kathy Pepper made life difficult for Jill, who was trying to figure out who she was. New girl Mary almost made life bearable, but unfortunately things came up. The one constant was her love of music and her ability to write it. Bouncing around various schools until college, when life got much better when she went to Spain. She discovered sex and got discovered in Denver, that brought her to Nashville, where she recorded her first record. Then came the song she is most known for, I Kissed a Girl, which has nothing to do with Katy Perry's much later song. It was her way of writing a song that she needed to hear when she was in the 7th grade. I went to see this based on the title, as I had a crappy time in 7th grade too, and basically, who didn't? But I got to find out about this amazing rocker with some great songs. Her band members stepped in as supporting players, which enhanced the story of her life even more. This is a really fun show with some serious subject matters about perception and acceptance. It was also very cathartic for all of us that were destroyed by the cruelty of those nasty little tweens. In the end, we have all triumphed. Happy face. There's a lot going on that you need to know about, and go to our website, because there you'll find the dates and the links. I'm just giving you a brushstroke. Joe's Pub got Leah Delario, Jackie Hoffman. 54 Below has Broadway Bound, musicals that never came to Broadway with Stephen Schwartz, and a lot of Scott Siegel stuff, and Jennifer Holliday starting there. How to Melt Ice, a play. After Zero, a play. Vineyard Gala is February 13th. Cabaret and Captivity, that's Edward Einhorn. Red Bull is doing Phaedra, and in New Jersey, the Algonquin Arts Theater is doing Wait Until Dark, and my review of David Greenspan and On the Set with Theda Bara will be on the website. So go to the website for links, dates, and everything else. And our next show will be February 25th. And there we're going to talk about Everett Quinton, who I am so upset died, and I'm still in shock over this.